Imagine a small, silent island in the midst of an endless sea, where the voice of the wind has replaced human speech, and the waves are the only witnesses to life. Now envision a woman, alone and without anyone, living for 18 years on this island, without any tools, without any communication, solely with wild nature, animals, and herself. This is a story that still shakes the human mind today, centuries later. Her name was Juana Maria, the last survivor of her tribe, a woman who lived on the remote island of San Nicolas in California with a willpower beyond human imagination. Everything began on a stormy day, the day her tribe's boat set sail, leaving her behind on the shore, not by mistake, but by choice. A choice between love and loss, between death and survival. Juana Maria's story is not just a tale of survival, it is a story of pure loneliness and the triumph of humanity over the merciless world of nature. If you ever thought that humanity cannot exist without society, she proved otherwise. In the mid-19th century, San Nicolas Island in the Pacific Ocean was a silent, remote, and dangerous place. The wind and waves swallowed every sound, and there were no signs of civilization to be seen. Yet, in the heart of this silence lived a native woman whose name would later be spoken with respect in history, Juana Maria. She was the last survivor of the Nicolino tribe, a group of Native Americans who had lived on that island for years. Following the attacks by settlers and Russian hunters, most of the tribe's people were forced to leave the island. A ship took them towards the mainland, but it is said that at the last moment, Juana Maria realized her little brother had been left behind. In a sudden move, she jumped from the ship and swam towards the shore. The cold water, the wind, and the waves, none could deter her from her decision. From that moment, her life in the humanless island began. The first year passed with fear and confusion. She built a shelter from dry branches, struck fire from flint, and survived on fish and plants. However, what kept Juana Maria alive was not merely survival, it was adaptability. As months went by, she learned to create tools from animal bones, sew clothes from bird feathers, and make utensils from shells. The island was home to animals that were sometimes gentle and sometimes dangerous: wild dogs, foxes, and wild boars. She learned how to hunt, how to hide, and how to withstand the ruthless storms. On cold nights, the sound of the wind accompanied her voice. Perhaps she talked to herself, or perhaps to the spirit of nature. Each day became a new battle for her, a battle between hope and oblivion. But she did not surrender. Time came and went like the waves, seasons changed, yet Juana Maria remained steadfast. She made friends with the birds, collected shells, and sometimes hummed local songs that only she understood. In her mind, the memories of her tribe were alive: the voice of her mother, the laughter of children, and the nighttime fire of celebrations. Yet something beyond memories lived within her, the flame of survival. 18 years passed. Not a month, not a year, but nearly 2 decades. During this time, many ships passed by the island, but no one knew that a human lived there. Until in 1853, a group of researchers and fur hunters visited the island and suddenly spotted a woman among the trees. A woman dressed in strange garments made of feathers and animal skins, with bright eyes and a deep calmness in her gaze. She spoke in a language that no one understood, the language of her tribe, a language that no longer existed on Earth. At first, they were astonished, then they decided to take her with them, to the modern world, to the world of humans. When Juana Maria reached the mainland, for the first time in her life, she heard the sound of a crowd, cars, buildings, clothing, and foreign languages. But what seemed ordinary to others was a cultural shock for her. She looked around in silence, at this new world that felt as if it had emerged from a dream. Although people were astonished to see her, no one could communicate with her in words. Yet, silence became their common language. She laughed, gestured, and sometimes cast a long gaze at the sky, as if the island still lingered in her mind. Unfortunately, her body did not adapt to the new world. Urban food, polluted air, and the noise of civilization were overwhelming for her. A few months after her return, with a calm smile on her lips, she passed away. However, her legacy remained, not just in memory, but in the essence of humanity. Today, on San Nicolas Island, the wind still blows, and the waves still crash against the shore. Every time the wind passes through the rocks, it seems as if her voice can be heard, a lone woman who proved that solitude is not an end, but another form of freedom. Juana Maria taught us that even in the quietest moments of life, in complete isolation, humanity can still find meaning. She demonstrated that survival is not just about staying alive, it is about rediscovering inner strength. We may never find ourselves alone on an island, but each of us sometimes harbors an island within ourselves, a place for fear, hope, and resilience. If her story ignited a spark in your heart, share this video with someone who is facing a tough journey. Let us not forget that even one person, against nature and time, can change history. And in the silence of the waves, the sounds of survival are still heard. This is the story of Juana Maria, the last voice of an island that never fell silent.